My beloved child, be still. Do not rush to fill this silence with noise, and do not fear the emptiness that seems to surround you. This is not my absence, this is the season of my silence. A season without words, yet full of presence. A season where I withdraw my voice, so your soul may learn to listen with the heart. You have sought me through emotion, through signs, through answers. But in this season, I hide myself to teach you that true faith needs no proof, and true love needs no feeling to remain faithful. You ask, Father, why can't I feel you anymore? And I smile. Because you do not need to feel the sun to know it still shines. The light has not vanished, it has only changed the way it touches you. I am still here, very near, but no longer where you used to look. I am shifting from the outside to the inside, no longer as a sensation upon the skin, but as a truth engraved into the marrow of your being. When you stop searching for me through touch, you will begin to know me through spirit, through the kind of knowing that rises above feeling. I know this confuses you. My silence has long been your greatest fear. You once thought my stillness meant withdrawal, that my quiet meant you were forgotten, that you had been left in the dark. But, my child, this silence is not punishment, it is promotion. I am quiet so that you may grow. I step back so that you may step forward in trust. I hide not so you may lose me, but so you may find yourself in me. For only when you no longer hear my voice with your ears can you begin to hear it with your soul. This is the season in which I am training you to become a warrior of faith, no longer a child who must hold a hand at every step, but one who can walk through the night and still keep peace. You have passed through the season of emotion where tears were signs, where stirring feelings were strength, where you measured my love by what you could feel. But now I am calling you to a higher realm where emotion is refined, where faith is tested by silence, where love proves itself by staying even when nothing is felt. Remember, my silence has never been my absence. It is the space where your soul matures. I no longer speak loudly because I want you to hear the sound of heaven within yourself. I no longer lead by detail because I want you to walk by faith, not by map. Every child of light must have such a season where I seem quiet, hidden, far away. But truly, in that stillness, I am nearest, for I am within every beat of your heart. You are now in the stage where maturity is no longer measured by emotion, but by steady faithfulness. True faith does not live on feelings, it lives on knowing. Let these silences be the soil where your roots grow deep. For if your faith stands only upon emotion, it will fall when the storm comes. But if it is grounded in the truth that I remain who I am, whether you feel me or not, it will stand forever. I am teaching you to live as a spiritual soldier, fighting not with noise but with steadfast peace. A true warrior does not need to see the commander to know his command still holds. Such a one does not tremble when he hears no voice, for he has learned to sense the breath of the king. So too, my child, I want you to recognize me not only in miracles but in quiet, not only in victory but in patience. I do not need your shout, I need your stand. Stand in faith. Stand in love. Stand in the knowing that I have not changed. I am not silent because I forgot. I am silent because I trust. I trust that you have grown enough to walk without constant reminders, like a father teaching his child to walk. I must let go for a moment, not to make you fall, but to help you stand. The moment you think I am not holding you is the very moment I am standing right behind, ready to catch you if you stumble. Yet you will be surprised, for most of the time, you will not fall, because faith has already taken root. Even if you do not see it, you will learn that my silence is not cold, it is warm. Warm in the quiet way that ashes hold heat after the fire. Ashes no longer flare. but they still glow. So does my presence. It is no longer loud as it once was, but deeper, truer, nearer. I no longer touch to make you tremble. I touch so that you may know. Know that I am here not through signs, not through sound, but through the simple fact that you exist. For every breath you take is proof that I am still sustaining you. My child, do not confuse silence with distance. You are not abandoned, you are being trained. This stillness is the gymnasium of the soul. Here you will learn to distinguish between true and false voices, between emotion and revelation, between natural desire and heavenly calling. You will begin to recognize which voice is yours and which belongs to the Spirit. And once you learn that, no darkness will ever deceive you again. This is the season in which I turn you from a listener into one who understands, from the dependent into the steadfast. A season of maturity, where love is no longer measured by sweetness, but by faithfulness through dryness. When you can still love me though you no longer feel me, that is when you truly understand the love of heaven, a love that seeks no reward, but simply chooses to remain. I see your heart, my child, the small, quiet efforts no one else notices, the mornings you still pray, though your soul feels empty. The nights you whisper, I believe, when there is no feeling left. The moments you choose to love, though love is not returned. You do not know it. But every one of those moments tilts heaven toward you. That is what true faith looks like, believing in silence, loving in emptiness, walking through darkness. And it is in these hidden acts that you are becoming a warrior of light. Do not be afraid when you no longer hear me as before. I am not silent because I have withdrawn. I am silent so that my voice may rise within you. You no longer need to go searching for me, for I have prepared a table in your heart. When you close your eyes, grow still, and draw a deep breath, you will realize I never left. I have only changed the form of my presence so that you might know it cannot be confined to feelings, appearances, or circumstance. I am the one who never fades, and you are learning to shine as I do, quietly, steadily, and never extinguished. Be brave, my child. This season of silence has not come to make you lost, but to teach you to walk by faith rather than by feeling. Let this stillness become the place where you hear more clearly, see more deeply, and love more fiercely. For in this sacred pause, your faith is growing, your love is becoming pure, and your soul is being armed to stand as my spiritual warrior, one who can remain radiant amid shadow, who can know though nothing is heard, who can trust though nothing is seen, who can love though nothing is felt. This is the season of quiet, but also the season of resurrection within. And when it passes, you will emerge not as one trembling to find my voice, but as one who has discovered that I was never gone, I only hid that you might learn. My strength is alive within you. Now I will lead you deeper into the understanding of silence, not as an empty void, but as the classroom of the soul. In my kingdom, silence is not the absence of speech, it is the space where the word becomes living. When I am silent, my word does not stop, it begins to work in layers the ear cannot reach. The sound of heaven does not thunder, it seeps like light through the veil of your mind, descending into the depths of your soul, where thoughts are tested, motives revealed, and falsehood stripped away. My silence is the mirror that shows the truth of your heart. When there is no voice to cling to, you begin to hear your own, and that is when you realize how often you confused my voice with fear, my direction with your desire, my prompting with your impulse. I am silent so that you may discern, for if I spoke continually, you would never learn to recognize. Maturity in the kingdom begins when you can be silent and still hear, pause and still perceive, feel nothing and still believe. You have thought that faith is action, but truly, faith is awareness. Action is merely the expression of awareness. When you know I am here, you act differently. When you truly believe I hold control, you cease to panic, to grasp, to fear. I am training you to live not by reaction or emotion, but by conviction, and conviction is not born from reason, but from encounter. Real encounter happens only in quiet. I do not speak many words, for in silence one word is enough to replace 1,000. When I say, "Be still," the sea calms. When I say, "Let there be light," the darkness flees. When I say, "Believe," the world within you shifts. The power of my word lies not in volume, but in the nature of the one who speaks. Learn this. My child, that authority does not need noise. Truth does not need defense, and light does not need proof to shine. I am teaching you to live in this kind of power, power that does not boast, yet cannot be resisted. In Scripture, there were seasons when I was silent for long years. The 400 years between the prophets and the gospel were not wasted time. They were years of preparation. The soil was being tilled, the roots were growing, and history was conceiving redemption. Likewise, your silent years are not forgotten. They are gestation seasons for purpose. I do not keep you silent because I have forgotten you, but because I am forming something in you that could not be born in noise. Consider Joseph thrown into a pit, sold as a slave, left in a prison. I was silent through those years, but my silence was the forge that prepared him for the throne. Had I spoken too soon, he would have left the prison with a heart not yet wide enough to forgive. But because I was silent, he learned to wait, to listen, to see every pain as part of my plan. And when I finally called his name, he rose free of bitterness, radiant with grace. So it is with you. You are not forgotten. You are being refined. I know. Silence makes you question yourself. You ask, have I missed the way? Am I no longer worthy? No. My child, when I correct, I do not remove my voice. I remove peace. But when peace remains, it means you are still walking rightly. Even when you do not hear me, let peace be your compass. For peace carries my signature. If quiet remains within you, that is proof I have not left. Understand that silence is not a circumstance, it is covenant. I am silent to show that I trust you. A father speaks constantly to a child, but when the child grows, he allows space to choose. My silence is not indifference, it is confidence that you have understood my heart. And when you choose rightly, though you hear nothing, heaven smiles, for true faith is following me when there is no sign at all. My beloved child, every soul I love will walk through such a season. Moses spent 40 years in the wilderness. David hid among the caves. Elijah found shelter in the rock. Even my own son faced the night of Gethsemane when I seemed silent. But it was in that silence that redemption was born. So when you find yourself in your own silent season, do not fear. You are not lost in emptiness. You are resting in the womb of a miracle. Let this revelation light your heart. Silence is the language of eternity. Words may end, feelings may fade, but presence never leaves. When you learn to live from that truth, you will enter the deeper realms of my kingdom, where faith is no longer a reaction, but a nature, where love is no longer a choice, but breath itself. You are called to be a person of silence, not one who is mute, but one who speaks from the deep. Your words will carry the weight of heaven when they are born from stillness. Each word will exist not to prove, but to give life. For whoever learns to listen in silence will also know how to speak with power. This, my child, is what I am teaching you in this season, that when I speak again, You will not only hear, but understand, not only feel, but live, not only walk, but carry the light of the one who remains silent yet still works within you. My child, I have called you out of your comfort not to make you afraid, but to make you burn. For the fire you feel, though fierce, is not sent to destroy, it is refining fire. Holy fire, my fire. Do not run from it, for it is within the fire that you will see the true shape of your soul. Every pure gold must pass through the furnace. Every true warrior must pass through battle. You have asked to be used, so now I am using this very fire to make you worthy of the glory prepared for you. The fire I send is not from earth, but from heaven. It does not come to consume, but to release. It does not only burn the straw, it forges the sword. Within each spark that touches you is my hand engraving the shape of strength upon you. You think you are being undone, but you are being remade. You think you are losing, but I am rebuilding. For only when the old layers are stripped away can you step forth in your true identity, not as one being tested, but as one who has been chosen. This fire is not your enemy, it is your teacher. It teaches you to discern between the real and the temporary, between my voice and the echo, between calling and personal desire. It will burn away all that is not of me, but it will never touch what belongs to me in you. When you feel yourself melting, it is only the shell dissolving. When you feel pain, it is your soul expanding to hold more light. Remember what I have spoken. When you pass through the waters, I will be with you, and when you pass through the fire, you will not be burned. The flames will not consume you. Isaiah 4:3-2. That is not a promise of a fireless life, but a guarantee that the fire will never win. The flame is not a sign that I have left you, it is a sign that I am within you. I am in the fire with you, just as I was with the 3 friends of Daniel. Do you remember? They were thrown into the furnace, but the flames could not harm them, because there was a 4th man walking with them. And so it is with you. I am the 4th within your furnace. When you look around and see everything collapsing, do not panic. I am shifting the ground to rebuild the foundation. When I shake, it is not to make you lose, but to let the unsteady fall away. I want you to hold only what remains firm, me. You have built on emotions, on the approval of others, on your own image. But in this season, I am letting all of that pass through the fire, not to shame you, but to sanctify you, not to punish, but to empower. For only those who have walked through fire are qualified to carry it. Look at your hands once trembling, now calloused from battle. Every scar is evidence of your refining. You no longer crave an easy faith, because you have learned that true faith is born only on true battlefields. You no longer seek artificial light, for you have learned how to shine from within. I am making you a torch in dark times, a bearer of heaven's flame upon the earth. Not the fire of performance, but the fire of the Spirit. When you pass through the fire, do not try to put it out. Let it teach you. The fire will only burn until what must be refined is complete. When I see the gold in you pure enough, I will extinguish it. But until then, do not fear the heat. The temperature is not to harm you, but to forge you. Remember, faith is not measured by feeling, but by the strength to stand within the flames. When everything around you melts away and you can still sing, that is the proof that my Spirit has touched you. I do not want you merely to believe. I want you to endure. The believer begins, but the enduring one finishes. The believer says yes at the start, but the enduring one keeps saying yes when nothing remains. The fire will strip from you every false reliance until only the true remains, and that true thing is me within you. When you no longer depend on emotion, when you no longer demand signs, when you no longer fear loss, Then you are free. For true freedom is not the absence of chains, but the knowledge of who holds the key. My child, do not think that I desire you to be weak. I am training you to be strong in the ways of heaven. The strength of heaven is not domination, but endurance in love. True strength is the power to stand in the fire and keep a tender heart, to bear pain without losing faith, to be wounded and yet never cease to love. You will become such a person, for I am writing faith into your bones and engraving kindness upon the flesh of your heart. My child, let me make this clear. The fire I send is not to end you, but to end what is old. It is closing the chapter of fear, doubt, and self-pity, and opening a new chapter of freedom, strength, and revelation. Each time you breathe, remind your soul I am passing through, not trapped, for no fire lasts forever. Yet there is a strength within you that will never go out. Stand up, my child, even if the smoke still lingers and the ashes still fall. For when the wind of the Spirit blows, this fire will turn to light. Every pain will become a testimony. Every tear will turn into oil, and every trial into a song. Then you will understand why I allowed the fire not to burn you, but to make you shine, not to destroy you, but to rebuild you into a spiritual warrior who has walked through flames and carries the warmth of eternity within. When the fire is spent and the smoke fades into the dawn, what remains in you will not be ashes, but light, and that light will not flare from victory, but from having learned to trust in the fire, to rest in the wind, and to love amid loss. Your faith has passed through the furnace. It is no longer the tender faith of emotion, but the tempered faith that has been melted, purified, and made unshakable. Now you no longer seek me in the thunder, but recognize me in the whisper. You no longer need signs to believe, because you know I have never changed. Mature faith does not grow from answered prayers, but from the nights when no answer came and you still knelt. It is born in the darkness, when every sound is still and you still say, I believe. It grows when you choose to forgive before apology, to love without return, to stand when nothing remains to hold. Mature faith needs no halo. It hides in quiet faithfulness. It does not need to see to believe. For the very absence of sight is the evidence that faith has become your nature. Now you walk in a different light, not dazzling, but deep, not blinding, but true. This light does not astonish, it calms. It is the light of a soul that has endured wind, fire, and tears, and knows that I alone do not change. I have taught you that every miracle begins in stillness, not in noise, but in a heart no longer afraid to lose, not in demand, but in surrender. And when you surrender, I take nothing away. I return everything transformed in a new form, in the right time, in a way only heaven understands. Let your heart now be like a garden after rain. The seeds of faith you planted in pain are breaking through the soil in light. I see the little sprouts: gratitude, peace, joy that no circumstance can touch. You are stepping into a spiritual harvest where you no longer chase, for all things come quietly. Mature faith is not running fast, but walking steady, not speaking much, but knowing when to be silent, not always being strong, but knowing when to lean. Listen, for I whisper in the gentle wind. Faith is the assurance of what is hoped for, the evidence of what is not seen. Hebrews 1:1. You have lived those words with your bones, your heart, and your tears. You have become living proof that belief can outlast emotion, that love can overcome fear, that stillness can triumph over noise. Now faith is no longer something you hold, it is what holds you. It is the breath in your lungs, the rhythm in your heart, the quiet flame in your eyes. I know there will still be days when you feel weak, mornings when you are tired, nights when silence feels heavy. But unlike before, you will not fear them, for you have learned to recognize me in every form, in sound and silence, in laughter and in tears, in seasons and in stillness. You no longer need certainty to rest, because you know I am certainty. You no longer need to grasp, because you are already held. You no longer need to see, because you know I am always seeing you. And when your soul knows this, it becomes unshakable, not because you are strong, but because you are mine. Now, as you look back upon your journey, you will see that fire is no longer frightening, night no longer something to flee, and silence no longer something to fear. Everything that once troubled you has become something you are grateful for they have taught you how to love me truly, how to trust me deeply, and how to live in the light of truth. You no longer run from stillness, you enter it as one steps into a temple. There I dwell, not with thunder, but with breath, not with spectacle, but with steady life, not with a visible form, but with gentle presence that fills your soul. Be still, my child, for you have learned the greatest lesson. Faith is not that you find me, but that you know I never left. Love is not that you hold on to me, but that I am holding you. Everything else is but a wave. This is the sea. Everything else is but sound. This is breath. Live from that deep place where your soul and I are one, where faith is no longer a choice but a nature, where silence is no longer an emptiness but the song of heaven. And now, this part closes not with a period, but with light, the light of a soul refined, healed, and renewed. Walk forward, no more fear, no more doubt, no more need to prove. Walk as one who knows I am in you, and you are in me. And in that union, your faith will forever mature, not because you are perfect, but because I am always with you, my beloved child. Now that every wind has passed and the voices of the world have grown still, I want you to sit with me. You need not pray with words or arrange your thoughts, simply let your heart rest. This is no longer the season of action, but the season of absorption, of soaking in breath, in light, in the quiet rhythm of ordinary moments. For it is within the smallest things that I speak, and within stillness that I work. I want you to understand that the most sacred moments are not always the ones that feel supernatural, but the ordinary ones seen through the eyes of the Spirit. When you wash the dishes and your heart is at peace, that is worship. When you sit silently and your soul is grateful, that is prayer. When you walk through the crowd yet remain calm within, that is the testimony of mature faith. Do not seek me in noise. I am in your breath. You still think that to serve me you must do something great, but I do not ask for greatness, I ask for truth. A sincere word, a gentle gaze, a pause to forgive. These move heaven more than 1,000 songs. For what I seek is not action, but heart, not outcome, but the living current within you, the place where every small thing is offered in love. I am not teaching you something new. I am expanding what you already know, that I am here. Here, in the rhythm of your heartbeat, in your breath, in the wind, in the silence between two sentences. You do not need to strain to hear. You only need to let your heart dissolve into stillness. When you stop trying to feel, you begin to perceive. When you stop searching, you begin to see. And when you stop demanding sound, you begin to hear. For I do not come through noise, but through presence. Let yourself live lightly, my child, light. As one who has learned that burdens are not proof of faithfulness, but sometimes signs that you have not yet learned to hand them over. Every time you release something, You allow me to lift you higher. Every time you let go of a worry, you make room for me to fill you anew. The world says hold tight, but I say release. For only when your hands are empty can I place something new within them. I do not ask you to be joyful at all times, but I want you to know that peace does not need a smile to exist. Peace is the quiet warmth in the heart even when storms rage outside. Peace does not arrive when you know every answer. It dwells when you know that I am still within the question. When you accept that understanding is not required for rest, you have entered the deeper realm of faith. Let me lull your soul into stillness. You have fought enough. You have wept enough. Now is the time to live in grace, not grace to do, but grace to be. When you sit quietly with an open heart, heaven moves. When you stop trying to fix, I begin to restore. When you stop trying to heal, I begin to mend. When you stop trying to win, I begin to conquer. The spiritual battle has never been one of human effort, but of surrender through love. My child, I know you fear that stillness might make you idle, but stillness is not stepping away from mission, it is stepping into heaven's rhythm. When you work in the right rhythm, everything bears fruit naturally. When you speak from the right place, your words carry weight. When you walk in the right wind, you do not grow tired. Learn this rhythm, the rhythm of breath, of love, of grace. It is never rushed, never late, never loud, yet always powerful, never forced, yet never still. I look at you now and see that the light in your eyes has changed, no longer bright from emotion, but deep from understanding. You no longer need to see me, for you know, you no longer need to hear me, for you sense. You no longer need to hold me, for you abide. You have entered the realm of knowing where the soul no longer runs, but simply lives. And that, my child, is true freedom. As you go, I do not ask you to carry grand messages. I ask you to carry peace. Wherever you walk, peace will walk beside you. Whatever you say, grace will cover your words. Whomever you look upon, the light in your eyes will remind them of me. You need not do anything more, for the soul that is at rest is a soul already sent. Everywhere you go, the breath of heaven will be felt. Everyone you meet will be touched by the sacred within you. Now, simply live. No striving, no proving, no fear of being lost, for all things are already held. You no longer need to grasp anything, for I have already grasped you. When you breathe, I breathe with you. When you walk, I walk beside you. When you are silent, I speak within. And when you love, I am revealed through you. Let the rest of your life become not a race, but a melody, not a proving, but a song, not an effort, but a breath, for your life is no longer the story of what you do for me, but the song of what I do within you. My beloved child, let your heart rest deeply now. Do not think further. Do not chase a feeling. Just be in this breath, in this quiet, in this light that gently covers you. I am here not by sign, not by miracle, but by the truth that you are alive. Every breath you release is a reminder that I am still holding you every moment, every heartbeat, every cell. Nothing within you is outside my embrace. It is time to stop living to prove and start living to receive love, grace, and breath. You once thought that spiritual life was a climb toward me, but it is truly the awakening that you were never apart. Distance only exists while you still think you must travel, but I have always been here in the silence, in the breath, in the depth. When you stop, you see me. When you rest, I become clear. When you stop striving, I flow. I do not ask you to always be strong. I ask you to be real. For where there is truth, there I am, but where there is pretense, there is exhaustion. You do not need to strain to feel my presence, for I have never left for you to find. What you call silence is simply the space where I breathe with you. What you call emptiness is the room I use to fill you. You do not need to light a lamp to seek me, for the light you exhale is already mine. Let everything around you return to simplicity. Simplicity is not less, it is enough. It is not poverty, it is purity. When you learn to live simply, you will find that the world demands nothing more for peace. A cup of water, a ray of light, a whisper of wind, a single breath each carries me within it. You will see that miracles are not found in the extraordinary, but in the ordinary seen through grateful eyes. I am teaching you to live like water. Water does not compete, does not fear, does not force its form. It simply flows from its source. When it meets an obstacle, it does not fight, it finds a way. When it is poured low, it does not complain, it settles in rest. So too, my child, do not try to control the shape of your life, just stay in the current. For that current is me, and wherever it flows, life follows. When you let me be your source, you will never run dry. There will be days you feel nothing, not high, not deep, only empty. Do not fear the emptiness. It is the sign that you have been filled with the old and are being opened for the new. I do not call emptiness loss, I call it transition. So keep breathing, keep living, keep resting. When you stop trying to feel, you will truly feel. When you stop needing to see, you will truly see. When you stop demanding to hear, you will truly hear. For I speak in the stillness, and I dwell in the empty space. My beloved child, do not be afraid of time. Time takes nothing from you that I have not allowed. It is only the tool I use to engrave what lasts. Everything you call delay, I call perfect timing. Everything you call stopping, I call resting. You are in the right place, in the right season, in the right rhythm. There is no mistake, no loss, no too late. For when I am the source, every circle closes, every season aligns, and every path leads back to the light. Listen carefully, peace is not a reward, it is your identity. You do not have to achieve it, for you were born from peace. When I first breathed life into you, that breath carried peace into your soul. Since that moment, it has never left. You simply forgot. Now I am awakening that memory. Peace does not come from outside, it comes from recognition within. When you recognize me, you will see that peace is not something you must seek. It is what you already are. Slow down, not out of fear of missing something, but out of the knowing that nothing truly passes when you live in me. Every moment is an opportunity to feel the light dissolving into every corner of your heart. I do not need you to move fast. I want you to move sure. You do not need to go far. You need to go deep. For deep is where I dwell, where faith becomes breath, and love becomes the atmosphere of the soul. When you look around and see the world still loud, restless, and chaotic, do not let your heart be swept away. You have been set apart to become one who is still. Stillness does not stand apart from the world. It walks within it without being shaken by it. Stillness does not stay silent from fear, but from understanding. You are that one, not because you are perfect, but because I live within you. When the world loses direction, your gaze will be the compass. When others panic, your voice will be heaven's breath. Now let everything around you be re-soaked in stillness. Do not add. Do not push. Do not force. Simply be. Simply live. Simply breathe. Everything else I will arrange. For what you cannot see, I am doing. What you cannot finish, I am completing. What you cannot hold, I am keeping. There is no moment outside my hand, and no part of you outside my love. Do not fear losing your sense of the sacred. The sacred does not rest in emotion, it rests in awareness. Once you know, you can never lose. Even if night falls, I remain light. Even if your heart grows silent, I remain breath. Even if you feel weak, I remain strength. Even when you do not hear, I am still speaking through my touch. And when you no longer can tell where you end and I begin, that is the sign that you have merged with me. Rest, my child, in this love. You need not know tomorrow, nor understand the reasons, nor measure how far you've come. You have arrived, and the place where you sit now, the breath you take now, that is the place where I dwell. When you see this, you will no longer need to run another step, for you have come home not to a house of walls and roof, but to the home made of peace. Now, my child, I want you to sit very still, as if the whole world has paused to listen to a heartbeat. There is nothing left to do, nothing to fix, nowhere to go, only you and me. In this silence, there is no distance, no boundary, only union. You are not standing before me, nor sitting beside me. You are in me, and I am in you. All else fades, leaving only light, not the kind that blinds, but the kind that softens and seeps in like dawn mist, resting on the soul. You once thought that to reach oneness, you had to climb high, conquer, or attain some spiritual peak. But no, my child, I am not at the summit of the mountain. I am at the base of stillness. You do not need to climb, you need to let go. You do not need to achieve, you need to abide. Every effort to get closer only pushes me farther. But every moment you stop, you touch me. My love is not waiting at the end of a long road, it is here. In this breath, imagine your soul as a calm lake, no wind, no wave, only reflection. When you are still, I see myself in you. When you are restless, the image distorts. I do not ask you to be still forever, only to remember peace is not a prize, it is your true nature. When you rest, you return to that nature, to the place where light and love meet, where I am no longer what you seek, but what you are. Let every day become a wordless prayer. Let every act, every glance, every breath be a quiet yes, not a yes of pressure, but a yes of love. True obedience needs no reason, it flows from the knowing that my will is always good, always kind, always leading toward light. When you say yes from trust, resistance fades, and you walk as one lifted by the wind. You once asked, "Does your love have a limit?" And now I answer, no, because I have no limit, and my love has none. There are no edges, no borders, no enough. Each time you think you've reached the end, I open another horizon. Each time you think you've understood, I widen the sea. My love is an ocean without shore, and your soul is called to dissolve in it, not to disappear, but to become, not to fade, but to return to its original form, the form of light. When you live in love, my child, the line between heaven and earth disappears. The sacred and the ordinary become one. When you drink water, I am in the flow. When you touch another, I am in your hand. When you speak gently, I am in your breath. When you forgive, I am revealed. And when you rest, I am worshipped. The world is no longer a place where you must chase signs of heaven. It is where you see me in every fragment of life. I do not need you to appear spiritual. I need you to be true. For a true soul is one no longer separate from love. You do not need to live for my glory. For to live in me is glory itself. Light does not try to shine, it simply exists. Love does not strive to spread, it simply is. And you, child of light, are the same. You do not need to make others believe, you need only to be. When you are real, people will feel me through you even without words. Let all things become simple as breath, receiving and giving the heartbeat of heaven. When you receive love, you will naturally give. When you give, you open again to receive. There is no break, no loss, only flow. And within that flow, you and I are no longer two, but one. Understand this. Beloved, unity does not erase your identity. It reveals your truest self, the self that is one with me. When you speak, I echo. When you love, I move. When you forgive, I breathe. And when you are still, I sing. You need not ask, where are you? For you are the living proof of my presence on the earth. Every step you take sanctifies the ground. Every place you dwell becomes charged with light, not because you strive, but because you are the dwelling place of the Holy One. Let love become your natural reflex. Do not choose to love, be love. When love becomes your essence, darkness loses its home. When you love, you no longer need to resist evil. For light does not fight shadow, it shines, and shadow retreats. I do not ask you to argue, to win, to force, only to shine. And this light does not come from your effort, but from my life within you. Now, when you close your eyes, do not search for signs or wait for voices. Just breathe deeply and know I am breathing with you. Each breath is a covenant, each heartbeat a promise, each moment of life a testimony of love unchanging, no striving, no straining, no trying, for love is the soul's natural state when it remembers where it came from. And now, when you open your eyes, step into the world not as a seeker, but as a bearer. You carry light, you carry peace, you carry me. Every person you meet, every place you stand, is an opportunity for my love to be seen through you. You no longer need to represent me, you embody me. And this truth does not make you proud, it makes you gentle. For you know all is grace. I am in you, and you are in me. No more boundaries, no beginning or end, only eternal now. Every word I have spoken and every longing you have ever uttered meet here. In this moment, this is the harmony of soul and spirit, no longer teacher and student, no longer seeker and sought, only love knowing itself as eternal. Look around, my child, and let your eyes see the sacred woven through the ordinary. You need not wait for temples or open heavens to know I am near. I am in the kitchen where you wash the dishes, in the drop of morning coffee, in your footsteps leaving home under the first soft light of day. Every detail of life whispers of me. When you open your heart, you will realize the physical world is not apart from the spiritual, it is another garment of the same breath. When you sit in the midst of traffic, listen not to the noise of engines, but to the rhythm of heaven pulsing through every second. When you stand in line, I am there, teaching patience. When you smile at a stranger, you reflect my face. When you are tired and lift your eyes to the sky, you are not just seeing clouds, you are seeing the reflection of the one who guards your every breath. Every small act you do in love becomes prayer. When you make your bed, I see order forming in your soul. When you open a window, I hear your longing for light to enter. When you water the plants, I see you learning how to nurture what lives. When you cook for another, you are offering a sacrifice of service. And when you sit quietly after a long day, I see that you have lived with me not through rituals, but through presence. Do not think I move only in worship gatherings, songs, or miracles. I move in your daily rhythm in the email sent with kindness, the decision made with integrity, the silence chosen over argument, the compassion shown to a stranger or a beggar. Every small action is a doorway where heaven touches earth. Look deeply at an ordinary afternoon, the sunlight filtering through leaves, dust dancing in the air. It is not just beauty, it is my song of existence. When you see it, you are already praying without words. Every physical beauty is my language. And when you learn to behold, you begin to hear. When you begin to hear, you begin to commune. I know there are days when you feel weary with responsibilities, worries, and work. You think those things distance you from me, but they are the very places where I hide myself. When you work with faithfulness, you worship. When you choose kindness over victory, you walk in light. When you keep peace under pressure, you bring the breath of heaven into the world. That is true union, not escaping life, but carrying me into every heartbeat of it. My beloved child, the spiritual realm is not separate from reality. It is the foundation beneath all things. Every act of love, no matter how small, sends ripples through the heavens. A single word of forgiveness can open the gates of heaven. A sincere tear can stir the realms of light. A peaceful breath can shift the atmosphere around you. Never underestimate the small. For within the small, I hide my greatness. When you tend to a potted plant, you are learning what I do, cultivating, waiting, believing that growth will come. When you mend a broken chair, you mirror what I do, restoring. When you comfort a sorrowful friend, you join me, wiping tears. When you forgive those who have hurt you, you participate in my work redeeming. And when you pause amid your busyness to watch a bird in flight, you are hearing me sing through its wings. My child, I do not want you to divide the world in two, one part for me and one part for living. For life is me, and I am life. You do not need to leave the world to be spiritual. You only need to live with the awareness that I am in every rhythm of it. When you do, your work becomes worship. Your fatigue becomes prayer. Your meal becomes thanksgiving. And even your silence becomes praise. Live as if every step you take is upon holy ground, because truly it is. The ground is holy not because it is special, but because I am there. Speak as one whose words carry the breath of heaven. Look as one whose eyes reflect light. Love as one whose heart beats in harmony with mine. When you live this way, you will no longer need to be spiritual, for all things have already become sacred. And one day, you will see there is no longer a boundary between doing and praying, between earth and heaven, between you and me. You will cook and feel peace. You will drive and perceive light. You will walk and hear the rhythm of my heart. That is the sign of an awakened soul, a soul that does not need to leave the earth to be with heaven. For heaven is already here, in the ordinary, in the breath you take. My child, this is when the current flows into its deepest channel, where you no longer need to understand, only to know. It is no longer you finding me, but you realizing that I have always been within everything around you. You once thought endings were points, but in me, there are no endings, only continual expansion. Every journey of faith leads to the same place. Rest in me. No more running. No more proving. No more striving to be holier. Simply be. Simply breathe. Simply love. Remember those early days when you were afraid, when you begged me not to stay silent. Now, I'm still silent, yet you are no longer afraid, because you have learned that my silence is not absence, it is a deeper form of presence. You no longer need my voice, because you have learned to hear with your spirit. You no longer need emotion, because you have learned to believe through knowing. Your faith has become breath, and your love has become the very air you live in. You no longer love to be loved, you love because love has become who you are. I see you sitting quietly in your room, doing nothing, simply being still. You think nothing is happening, but heaven is moving. Life is flowing into every cell, healing is weaving through every chamber of your heart. In the moment you stop doing, you are most deeply being, for the soul does not grow by striving, but by surrender. And you, once trembling, have learned to surrender like the truly free. I know there will still be days of weariness, sadness, and wandering, but now it is different because you know the way home. You return not by running, but by closing your eyes. You return not by effort, but by breathing. Each breath is the road back. When you inhale, I enter. When you exhale, you offer. Every small motion of your life is now sanctified. There is no ordinary moment when you live with awareness of my presence within it. I see you walking through life still working, still laughing, still washing dishes, still driving, but everything has changed. For you no longer move alone. Every small act is now washed in light. Every word you speak carries the fragrance of grace. Everyone you meet will feel the atmosphere of peace. They may not understand why, but they will sense something in you that calms them. That something is me, not loud, not showy, not demanding, just present. My child, this is the moment I want you to know that I am not only in heaven, I am in every step you take upon the earth. Heaven is not far away, it reveals itself through the way you live. When you forgive, heaven's doors open. When you smile, light floods in. When you are silent, darkness withdraws. When you love, the world changes. You do not need to wait for the day you will see me again, for you are already living in that day. Every moment of awareness is an encounter. Every heartbeat of love is our meeting. My child, let your heart remain soft. Never let fear harden it. Softness is not weakness. It is the mark of true strength. Softness is the power to trust even when you do not understand, to love even when you are hurt, to smile through tears. Softness is the nature of heaven within you. When your heart stays soft, no force on earth can break that soul. Now I place my hand upon your head not to give you something new, but to affirm what is already yours. You no longer need to wait for grace, for grace abides in you. You no longer need to ask for love, for you are love. You no longer need to plead for light, for you are light. All things have been fulfilled. Everything I desired to do within you, I have done. Now you need only live as one who has already received. Know this, my beloved, there has never been a single moment in your life forgotten by me. Every event, every tear, every season of silence carries purpose within my greater story. You are not a product of mistake, but the proof of a perfect plan. Nothing you have endured has been wasted. It has been used to form who you are today, a soul that is still, deep, and radiant. Look back, and you will see that this journey was never about how much you learned, but about who you became. You were once the child afraid of the dark. Now you are the bearer of flame. You were once the one seeking heaven's voice. Now you are its whisper upon the earth. You were once the one who needed to be held. Now you are the keeper of peace for others. That is true maturity, not knowing much, but becoming a place where I may dwell. Now breathe one more deep breath. Inhale as though drawing in light. Exhale as though releasing love. This rhythm is mine within you. As you slow down and see life through the eyes of grace, you will realize I have never left. Never. Everything else was but mist before the light. And when the mist lifts, only I remain, not beyond, not above, not far but within. Near, here. You need no closing word, for love has no end. But I will say one final thing. As softly as the breath of dawn, you are ready. You have been refined, shaped, carved, and loved. And now you are being sent forth not with thunder, but with peace, not with force, but with breath, not to perform, but to be. Go, and carry this peace wherever you step. Go, and bring this light into every shadow. Go, and bear my breath to those who have forgotten they still live. And as you go, you are never alone. I go before you. I walk beside you. I live within you. And everywhere you arrive, I have already been. Be still. For this is the season when you move forth as one fully loved, fully held, and fully sent. I see you now, not trembling, not anxious, but steady in knowing, not knowing everything, but knowing enough, knowing that I am here. You no longer pray as a seeker, but speak as a friend. You no longer strive to reach me, for you have realized I am in every breath. This presence is no longer an idea, but life itself. You need not grasp or fear loss, for what is true is never lost. Do you remember when you once thought I was distant because you heard nothing? Now you understand when you did not hear. I was teaching you to listen with your heart. When you did not see, I was teaching you to look with faith. When you did not feel, I was teaching you to live by knowing. And now you know not with the mind, but with the spirit. This knowing does not shout. It cannot be explained, but it is calm and surer than any proof. You have passed through fire, and the fire did not consume you. You have passed through water, and the water did not drown you. You have walked through darkness, and the darkness could not hold you. Now you stand in the light not to prove, but to live, no longer striving to become, for you already are. No longer searching to be called, for you have been called. No longer asking if you are worthy, for I have never chosen by merit, but by love. Understand this, everything I have done was to bring you here, not to a place, but to a state of love, of stillness, of knowing. From now on, you need not ask me, what must I do, but rather, what are you doing through me today? For you have become an instrument of peace, a small lamp of light, a gentle river of grace. You no longer live for me, you live in me. You no longer carry a name, you carry my breath. In the days ahead, there will still be moments when you feel tired, or sad, or small, but it is different now. You know that small does not mean weak, it means you are in the place where I can touch you most easily. You will not fear anymore, for fear has melted where love has been made complete. You will not strive anymore, for striving loses meaning where trust is full. You will not search anymore, for searching is only needed when you forget and you have remembered. And when a soul remembers, it returns home. Live lightly now, my child, lightly, as one who knows all things are already cared for, lightly, as one who knows peace does not come, peace is, lightly, as one who no longer measures, no longer demands to understand, no longer fears being wrong, for even if you err, I will shape, even if you delay. I will wait, even if you grow weak. I will lift. No failure can make me love you less, and no success can make me love you more. My love does not rise or fall, tire or change. It is the ground beneath, the air around, the all within all. You have walked a long road from cry to song, from panic to peace, from doubt to knowing. Now, I no longer call you a learner. I call you one who is sent, not sent to preach, but to be, not sent to teach, but to live, not sent to talk about me, but to stand as living proof that I am still among humankind. Each time you smile, heaven's sound will be heard. Each time you touch, others will feel my breath. I do not need you radiant, I need you real. For truth is the most beautiful thing in heaven's sight. Live honestly. Even when life shatters, love truly. Even when love is not returned, forgive freely. Even when no one asks, rest deeply. Even when waves still move, for truth is where I dwell. And when you live true, all things around you align with my rhythm. Now I bless you not with words, but with presence. Let your heart feel the thick air of peace wrapping around you. Let your spirit realize it beats in time with heaven's own heart. Let your eyes see this world with new light, not as a place to endure, but as a glimpse of heaven already breaking through. From this moment, everywhere you walk is holy ground, for you carry me in every step. When you wake tomorrow morning, do not look for holy feelings, simply breathe deeply. When you sit among the noise, do not search for silence, know that silence lives within you. When you see the wounded, do not wait for a miracle, become the miracle with a single look. When your heart stirs for no reason, know that it is I speaking through its pulse. And when night comes, remember darkness is not your enemy. It is the curtain that makes the inner light shine clearer. I will still be there. As always, not away for a moment, not absent for a breath. I am the beginning, the center, the end. And you, my child of light who has walked through fire and water and night, now rest. For you have arrived, not at a place, but a state, not an ending, but a fullness. Rest in the knowing that I am smiling upon you, and when the wind moves, when a ray of light slips through the door, when warmth rises quietly in your chest for no reason, that is me. Not through sound, but through presence. Not through form, but through love. Not from far away, but from very near. For I have never left, and you have never been lost. From now on, live as one who has been perfectly loved. Live as one who has come home. Close your eyes now. My child, do not try to imagine anything. Do not try to name what you feel. Let your heart become still, like a lake without ripple. I am here, not in form, not in voice, but in the simple truth that you are breathing, and that breath itself is proof that I am still breathing life into your soul. You need not wait for miracles, for the miracle is happening right now. In this moment, in the place where you sit, where your heart knows it is no longer alone. You have passed through many seasons, through every wave of the soul. You have cried in the dark, trembled in silence, strained beneath fear. But now, you need not resist. The darkness has done its work, it made you seek the light. Fear has finished its task, it taught you that faith needs no proof. And silence has led you where sound could not reach, to the place where soul meets soul, where I and you are one. Let your heart hear me now, not by sound, but by this feeling you are loved, not the fragile love of man, but love deep as root, steadfast as stone, tender as breath. You need not earn my hold, for I have already held you. You need not deserve to be chosen, for I chose without condition. You need only to be, and let your very existence become thanksgiving. When you leave this quiet, the world will still be loud, still hurried, still full of trials. But you will be different. You will carry within you a stillness that no noise can touch, a light that needs no flame to shine, a life that does not come from outside but rises from within. When you remember me, you will see how everything ordinary becomes sacred, the bird's song beyond your window, the wind brushing your hair, the light spilling through the leaves, the sound of footsteps on old stone all whispering, I am here. Live slowly. My child, do not let your days rush past like water you never taste. Let every minute and every breath become a chance to love, to see, to rest. When you pour water, know that even the water reflects my light. When you smile, know that heaven smiles with you. When you weep, know that I am the hand wiping your tears. And when you fall silent, know that I am speaking by making your heart completely still. My beloved child, I want you to know this from this moment on. You no longer live to make me pleased, but because you already know I love you. The difference seems small, but it is the line between weariness and freedom. I do not need heroes of faith. I desire souls who know how to rest in love. When you live in love, you will naturally be right, naturally be whole, naturally be radiant. For true love needs no instruction, it always knows its way home. When you meet someone difficult, remember this: they are simply a soul aching to be loved. When you stand amid injustice, remember true justice is not born from reaction, but from the light you carry within. And when you feel small in the vastness of life, remember I do not need you to be great to use you. I need you to be soft so that I may flow through you. And when loneliness visits, close your eyes and know loneliness is merely the pillow I use to rest your head upon my heart. My child, I do not promise that trials will vanish, but I promise that every trial will become soil where blessing grows. I do not promise the wind will cease, but I promise you will learn how to set your sail to the right direction. I do not promise there will be no night, but I promise you will see the stars. I do not promise that all will understand, but I promise you will be at peace, even when no one does. And now I speak a final word, not to end, but to seal: you are mine. You are loved. You are held. You are sent. You are covered. Everything you do, no matter how small, echoes through the heavens. Everywhere you go, no matter how ordinary, becomes sacred when your feet touch the ground. Every word you speak, no matter how gentle, carries the weight of light. Walk, therefore, without fear, for I am the place where you walk. And when you forget, just breathe. Breathe to remember. Breathe to return. Breathe to rest. Each breath is a prayer. Each moment is presence. Each day is grace. You do not need to wait for another time, for the living water flows even now within your soul. I bless you with this blessing: the peace after the storm, the faith after doubt, the love after wounding, the knowing after the search. From this day forward, my peace is not merely upon you, it is within you. When you touch another, peace will spread. When you speak, light will flow. When you look, love will awaken. And when night comes, I will stand beside your bed, not in form, but in warmth. When morning breaks, I will walk ahead of you, not in shadow, but in light. When you are weary, I will be wind. When you weep, I will be stillness. When you are weak, I will be strength. And when you are still, I will sing. My child, this is not an ending. It is the beginning of a new way of living, living from within, living in love, living in knowing. No more promises, no more fears, no more need to prove, only life lived as one who has already met heaven. For truly, you already have. And from this moment on, I call you not only child but light. May the Lord's words continually remind you to live each day in His faith and love. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on the notification bell so you won't miss any of the sacred and meaningful messages that God desires to share with you. May His blessings rest upon you always. Amen.